ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Polit 7 p.m. Join us.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice.
My name is Tao Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arararara, my name is Made Kuti, and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome, guys. This is Hashtags, where we're going to tell you all things trending. This place is where we follow up stories as well as break fresh news, right? Breaking news. So, you guys, if this is your first time, accept a very warm welcome from me. Now, I say us because I'm not flying solo. My name is Vivian Uguche.
Mikechukwu Agwago. Good evening and welcome to another very exciting episode of Hashtag. And of course, like Vivian said, this is where you get the answers to the question, what's trending? There's a lot of follow-up stories, and of course, there are new ones also breaking in it. So sit tight as we take you through it all this evening.
All right. Without further ado, we begin with the very first hashtag, which is hashtag Alwan Hassan. So if you're wondering who Alwan Hassan is, he is an APC member, a popular Nigerian politician who looks like he's gearing up to be a public commentator. So he's been talking about the talking points that have been pouring in from the official presentation of the late book written about the legacy of former President Muhammadu Buhari, the late PMB. Now, this presentation was done by President Tinubu in Aso Rock a couple of days ago. We broke that news to you as well. So there are lots of talking points that have been falling out of that, including former First Lady Aisha Buhari saying that her husband thought she was going to poison him. The intent to kill him. Why? She said that's what the cabal told him, and that he believed and even started locking his room, and all of that here. But first, let's begin with what Alwan Hassan is saying. This is what he's saying, is that 95% of ministers under the late PMB should be jailed if justice is done. That's it. Channels Television put up this one. It says, if justice should be done, 95% of the ministers under Buhari should be in jail. Alwan Hassan, member APC, speaking on Buhari's government. There you go. And there are lots and lots of responses, right, from netizens. Let's take a look at the next post. So Folu says, when I said recently that the level of larceny under Buhari was reckless and shocking, folks opined that I was being extreme. Time keeps proving me right. Buhari was used, misused, manipulated, and deceived a lot during his government by people he called friends and family. The next one. So we are taking a look at the responses now to this hashtag. Hamza Abdullahi says, this is a statement of fact by Yes Milo or Milo. Yes Milo. And it goes on to say, former President Buhari once told his appointees that a day will come they will all defend their actions and be held accountable. And he put a screenshot of the late president's picture as well as his comment that everything will be reviewed based on what you did while in office, since government records contain everything. They should go and defend their own actions. Muhammadu Buhari, and this statement he made was in January 2023. More reactions, let's continue to take a look at them. Willie Jim George says, supported. When late President Muhammadu Buhari was giving warnings, some thought he was joking. They must defend their own actions. Those facing trials today were warned but did as they liked. More stories will be heard. And then Abdul Aziz, are you kidding me? Says, strong claim. Ultimately, justice should be based on evidence and due process, not sweeping percentages. If there are cases to answer, they should be investigated properly, regardless of party or administration. Let's take a look at the next one now. So, Ubaidullah Yahya Kara says, the former President Buhari's regime, let me take that again. The former President Buhari regime's economic policies had a negative impact on the country's financial stability, serving the interests of a select few while neglecting the nation's needs, which resulted in a lack of oversight in the cabinet due to concerns about Buhari's inability to take decisive action against them. APRO says, Alwan said what we all know. He spoke truth. Late Buhari warned his ministers from day one that they will be held accountable after office. If anyone is answering questions today, it's their own record catching up with them. So you see a number of netizens are alluding to the fact that Buhari had told his appointees that they were going to be investigated after they left office and that they should defend themselves. Now, we have a couple of Buhari boys or people who worked for the former president, a couple of them now under investigation. Chris Ngige, former Labour Minister, and former AGF, Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami. That's going to be the next hashtag. Yeah, but let's talk about what Alwan is saying at the moment. Right, that 95% of ministers under Buhari should be in jail if justice is done.
Well, I mean, I don't even think it's only about Buhari. I think ministers before him, before his government, seems to be the same thing. I don't think we have any minister before, let's say, Yar'Adua's government and Jonathan's government. We start looking back at all of them. You definitely see that they all have certain questions to answer. If it's not embezzlement, it's going to be misappropriation of.
Well, talking about Jonathan's regime or administration, I prefer using that word. You remember that Alison
still on exile.
Yeah, the petroleum. That's an interesting word to use, because it looks like she's on exile.
Absolutely,
petroleum minister who is at cahoots with the investigators in Nigeria. So you're saying it's not just limited to Buhari's administration?
Yeah, absolutely. So back to the Buhari's government. I mean, the person of Buhari, according to Buba Galadima, who was actually talking about how Buhari came back as a civilian ruler. He was talking about how they actually forced him. He wasn't never really interested. He was even saying that Buhari was telling them that he doesn't like democracy, doesn't like how these things are actually done in this sort of settings.
But he contested 4 times.
Yes.
If you don't want something, I don't see you push.
Well, these are Buba Galadima's words, right? Okay. So eventually he ended up saying that that the reason why he actually agreed is when he was actually told that, hey, you have to come defend your people. So you have to come stand in the gap for your people, because Buhari is a very, it's a person who's very keen about his, tribesmen. So that's exactly why he actually came. So someone who has that sort of view, according to someone who's close to him, it means the person who really care less rather about, people who he appoints, in his kitchen cabinet. That's exactly why we see this level of recognition. I mean, 95% is clearly, a huge F9. That's exactly what it means. And it's so sad. Now we're having 2, top, members of his cabinet being prosecuted or facing, questions at this point as regards, financial crimes. Now, definitely they're good. I mean, we are talking about 2. There are 3, actually. Timmy Peresiva also served under him. Recall that his own started after just
but there's
after
a bit
the
of
coup.
Silence regarding that one. I know the EFCC didn't take him into custody. That's the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources.
Yes, of course.
He wasn't taken into custody.
No, right now he's actually not free.
Yeah, but he wasn't taken into custody, but he's under investigation.
But of course, the EFCC flashed, stories about, I think about $20 billion, around $14 billion US. So it says a lot about people, around that particular 8 years that he actually served. So
yeah, but the thing about Mr. Silva's case, like I said, it's clandestine, sort of. No much talk about that. But the two cases that are on the front burner is that of Chris Ngige and Abubakar Malami. Let's talk about those 2, right? Chris Ngige is facing charges of improperly allocating contracts to his associates, and it's amounting to over 2 billion naira. He's cooling his fate in prison now because we heard he was unable to meet the bail conditions. Same with Malami. Malami now is our next hashtag. So he's saying, I'm talking about the former AGF, Abubakar Malami. That is the next hashtag. So he's saying right now that the prosecuting, should I say, the EFCC, which is actually the one prosecuting him, that they are not they don't have the jurisdiction to say that, except if there is a change of leadership. So Malami is saying that when he was the Attorney General of the Federation, the current EFCC chair faced an inquiry under his supervision, and that he was allegedly fingered for committing fraud as regards the Abacha loot. So this thing is getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So Malami is saying that Mr. Olukoyede, the EFCC chair, is biased and that this is a total witch hunt and that he should please step aside and let another person prosecute him. He's saying the EFCC shouldn't prosecute him. That's what he's saying, basically. And there are reactions to this one, including his colleague, Loretta Onochie, who served with him under the late PMB. She also put up a post in his defense. So we take you to X so you see how that particular one is panning out. It is hashtag Malami. So first, the People's Gazette put up this headline. So credit goes to the People's Gazette. People's Gazette. It says, corruption. Malami demands to be probed by another investigative body, not EFCC. Mr. Malami faulted the continued involvement of EFCC chair Ola Olukoyede in the ongoing probe. So Channels, it gives us a meteor reportage. Let's take a look at that one. So credit goes to the Channels TV for this one. Former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami has called for the immediate recusal of the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Olukoyede, from all matters relating to him, citing alleged bias and conflict of interest. In a statement issued on Tuesday by Malami's Special Assistant in Media, Mohammed Bello Doka, the former AGF argued that the EFCC chairman's continued involvement is legally untenable, morally indefensible, and constitutionally impermissible, referencing Chapter 9 of the Justice Ayo Salami Judicial Commission of Inquiry report. According to the statement, Malami, while serving as Attorney General, supervised the establishment of the Justice Ayo Salami Judicial Commission of Inquiry to investigate allegations of corruption and abuse of office within the EFCC. Noted that the current EFCC chairman served as secretary to the commission at the time. The statement said Chapter 9 of the Salami report addressed the conduct and responsibilities of senior EFCC officials and created what it described as personal and professional exposure for certain individuals now exercising prosecutorial authority over Malami. So this is big deal. It's a lot for you to wrap your head around. But let's see how netizens are responding to this one now. So take a look at the next post. Let's do it. Loretta Noche says, recuse yourself. You can't investigate me, Malami to EFCC chairman. And then the heading says, the motive, historical animosity and malicious personal vendetta. Malami states that the present actions of the EFCC are not born out of law enforcement imperatives, but are instead driven by deep-seated historical animosity and a malicious personal vendetta orchestrated by the EFCC chairman. Let's take a look at the next post. So, Osigwe Card says, page 9 of Salami report says it plainly. The Abacha loot wasn't luck or accident. It was power stealing from the people. Weak institutions protected the thieves, and Nigerians paid the price. Recovering the money means nothing if the system stays corrupt. So, Ikechukwu, lots of talking points here. The Salami report is popping up. The Abacha loot is popping up. And there is so many angles to this ongoing case involving the former AGF, Malami.
Yeah, the truth is, I mean, at some point, someone actually described Abacha loot like as a manna that keeps falling from heaven for Nigerians after, a long time. But then it's sad that, we are having this particular situation. Let me just speak to, Abubakar Malami's position on this. It is natural in law when, an accused person is not confident with the chair, be it the judge or so, citing bias that, whatever verdict you actually give at that point against that person will be deemed, unattainable. And that's exactly what's happening now.
Nnamdi Kanu did it, right?
Absolutely.
Against Justice Binta.
Yeah.
And she actually stepped aside.
Absolutely, because it doesn't make sense, right? You've been accused of being biased, so why are you trying to, what exactly are you standing to gain if you want to force yourself as a chairperson on that particular trial? If you don't have any personal bone to pick, you step aside. That's what it means. So definitely at this point, it is expected for Olukoyede to actually step aside and then, expect someone else to actually step in to continue. He's not saying, the investigation should stop. He's not saying the trial should stop. He's saying, I don't trust you because we have a personal history and you are someone on a mission. And of course, whatever it is that I'm bringing as an argument will make no sense to you because you actually want to, get back at me. And that's basically what he said.
Let's take a look at this, holistically. According to the People's Gazette, we saw that headline. He is saying the EFCC as an anti-graft agency should not at all investigate him.
That's because of the man who is
That's because
chairing.
of the man
Yes.
who's heading it. But then we have two anti-graft agencies, yeah?
Yes,
The EFCC and the ICPC.
Mm-hmm.
The ICPC currently is looking into another case, which we are going to be talking about shortly. So do you think really that's a legit demand? Is it just for the current EFCC chair to recuse himself, or actually for the ICPC to take over?
So like they say, when the head is rotten, the entire body is a problem.
Well, is that always the case?
Well, I mean, most cases, if you have a headache, you not perform optimally. That's what it is, right? But now, as you know, he's saying this that, you know, I don't trust you, which means since Olokede at this point embodies the EFCC, right? He doesn't trust the EFCC. He doesn't see EFCC as, you know, a body that that has the, you know, legal ground to actually prosecute him. The truth is, when you come for equity, you come with clean hands.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying that, yeah, your hands are not clean, so you cannot actually come for equity in this case when it comes to me. So let him step aside and let's have an argument if constitutionally the FCC have, you know, the right to actually prosecute him or not. But until that, I think he's got a very strong case.
That's a safe place to land. Let's quickly, this is pacey, guys. So, hey, tighten your seatbelt. Next hashtag is hashtag Oshibajo. Does that ring a bell? Talking about former Vice President, Professor Oshibajo. So since the presentation of the legacy of the late PMB, like I said, so many talking points have been popping up. One of the talking points is former Vice President Oshibajo's presidential ambition. You didn't know that. He actually contested against his former boss, talking about the current president. Yeah, it's a whole, like, it's like a lot for you to wrap your head around. But this one is saying that President Buhari did not support his VP's presidential ambition because, according to President Buhari, he did not know him. What is he talking about? Well, let me take you to X now so you see the post. I think Daily Trust has it. Daily Post has it. Daily Post Nigeria says, I don't know him. Buhari reveals why he didn't support Oshibajo's presidential ambition. Let's talk about that a little bit before we go back to how netizens are reacting to this one. You do remember that it was a shocker when we heard that former Vice President Oshibajo also has thrown his cap into the fray and wanted to become president at the primaries.
Yeah.
He was flawed. He was totally flawed.
True.
And it was said that President Buhari did not actually support his ambition. There was talk about him serving ice cream and all, you know, at the primaries and all. But then one of the things that conspiracy theorists and, of course, analysts have come out to say was that it was now President Tinubu, who was also nursing an ambition to become president then. That it was President Tinubu who had even nominated Professor Oshibajo to be Buhari's deputy, his vice, right? So people could not understand why Professor Oshibajo, knowing that his former boss was nursing an ambition to become a president, would also throw his heart into the ring. But hey, everybody has the right to contest, you know, to participate in these activities, isn't it? Yeah. So, what do you make of this?
So, like they always say, power. That's the illusion of power. You know, the proximity of power makes you feel like you wield it. It's very close to power, about 3 meters away from power. Believes that. What will it take? I understand the intricacies now. I'm vice president. Every other person who, even my former boss, hasn't actually attained that position. So I should understand the workings around being close to the Aso Rock and, you know, getting the hot seats.
Would you say he had the bragging right to think this? Because you see, anytime President Buhari was ill and he traveled, he would transmit powers to his vice, Oshibajo, and he would do so well, so much so that Nigerians nicknamed him Starboy. You remember he was the one that did some high-profile sacking and all that. People were saying, oh my gosh, that he speaks truth to power. So do you think that actually earned him the bragging rights?
I think, you know, Nigerians are actually thirsty for leaders that are
bold.
Composed, bold, and intelligent. He speaks so
and that's a
well.
description of who
Yes,
was
I mean, he's an orator. So we need a leader like that. I mean, we've seen people before him, and Oshibajo seems to be head and shoulder above every other people we've seen. So exactly why Nigerians are like, okay, if this kind of person is going to actually raise the bar, we know that the next person that's going to succeed him is this sort of person definitely want to, you know, create a system that will encourage people like him to actually get into power. That's actually what it was for him to actually. But politics is not about how well you are, how spoken you are, or how well spoken you are. It's all about you understanding the game of numbers, and most of especially if you don't have the deep pocket, how to actually pull that deep pocket. And he doesn't understand the intricacies of politics. That's obviously what played against him. Yes, they've been very close. Him and his
They were really close.
His former boss, of course, now the president of the country. At the time where he was the governor of Lagos State, of course, he was part of Lagos State Judiciary Council, so he's very much, part of, the Bola Ahmed Tinubu's camp, back in the days. Now he got in that particular level. He's gotten to a place where, okay, yeah, I think I can continue from here, but he's not a politician. That's what we always say. It played also against Jonathan. He's not a grassroots politician. He's not a core politician, and this thing will always play. When you climb up to the ladder, the higher you go, the more exposed, your butt and it will be definitely. So, and at that point, if you're a politician, you definitely know how to actually cover yourself up when you're climbing up the ladder. He doesn't know how to do it, and that's actually got to him.
Yeah, you said he was very close to his former boss, talking about Tinubu, Bola Tinubu, who wasn't president when they worked.
Yeah.
But as VP, he was also very close to his late boss.
Yeah.
The then President Muhammadu Buhari. So this book is saying Buhari said he did not know Shibajo. That is why he didn't support his presidential ambition. But this book is also saying that the cabal didn't want President Bola Tinubu to be president. So President Buhari, then President Buhari, did not support his presidential ambition. So is it Buhari now that did not know Oshibajo, or was it the cabal that actually did not want him to become president? It was Ahmed Lawan, then Senate president, that allegedly was blessed by the cabal to become the flag bearer of the APC, and that didn't happen. So is this a cabal talking really now, or is this the late PME? It's something we might never know, right?
So when politicians say, I don't know you in that particular space, they're actually talking about, they don't understand the value you're actually bringing, basically, as a politician.
Yeah, but the thing is, somebody is saying this on behalf of Buhari now.
Yes, true. So that's it. So that's why I'm saying we can actually take words of politicians on surface level. Right, that's exactly what he's actually saying. He's not saying that he doesn't really know him as a person. But the thing is, can you actually, hold forth, when it really matters more? Because it's one thing for you to just, take power and handle for a while because I'm away, and you are now the president of the country. It's two different dynamics.
Yeah, but netizens are saying that you worked with him for 8 years and you're saying you don't know him, right? So would you say Buhari then also did not know the value Tinubu would be bringing, but that he knew the value Ahmed Lawan would be bringing? So I keep saying Buhari. So is it Buhari talking now, or the cabal? That's the thing.
So we need to understand Buhari as a person first. Buhari is also not a politician. Buhari is just a man loved by his people, and he can actually really pull crowd. Two different things. He doesn't understand. It's not the Erufai you see. If Buhari and Erufai walk into doing politics as politics should be, Erufai will floor him because he's a core politician. But Buhari is a man, he's an enigma in the north. So he's a man who naturally, I want to do this, and he's going to pull that crowd. Right? Politics is a game of number, but Buhari is a core military man. He doesn't have the time for this politicking and all of that. So it's all about politics. Now, Buhari as a person is not. And that's exactly why the cabal really function a lot around him. Right.
And Aisha Buhari, his wife, had said the cabal had overtaken
because
her husband's government. Also, now that you're saying this, Buhari and his late deputy, Alwan, did very well when they were soldiers. Right? So Nigerians were thinking he was going to replicate what they did. It looks like that failed massively. Omoyele Sowore is jumping on this particular one. And he said Buhari suffered paranoia, towards the end of his administration. Let's continue to take a look at hashtag Oshibajo. That's coming under this particular one. Let's take a look at the responses now, shall we? Thank you. So Omoyele Sowore says, going by the accounts of his wife, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, at Aisha and Buhari 1, ministers, security aides,
and even his children, Muhammadu Buhari's presidency was driven by an extreme consuming fear and suspicion of everyone around him. Those closest to him repeatedly described a leader crippled by insecurity, disconnected from the realities of governance, and trapped in a mindset of deep distrust. Apart from debilitating physical health challenges, it was this atmosphere of mental siege, of intense fear, secrecy, and paranoia that shaped the dysfunction, chaos, and disastrous decision that defined his years in power. That was almost cut my tongue.
I know, right? What is Sowore saying, when he said going by the accounts of his wife, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari? Let's take a look at the next post. It will tell you exactly what Sowore is saying. That's it. Nigeria Stories has it. Buhari believed Asu Rock gossip. I planned killing him. Late President Muhammadu Buhari, Buhari's wife, Aisha, says, this is like a seasonal movie. Are you kidding me? And if you take a deeper look into what she said, that he started locking his door. So it means he was pushing her away. You remember there was one time she went on a very protracted holiday at Saudi Arabia, and there were rumors that Buhari was going to get married to one of his ministers, the humanitarian affairs minister and all, and Aisha rushed back into the country, and there were reports that wasn't true, it was fake news and all. But she also said that those 2 times Buhari traveled to London for treatment, that it was some critical issue he went to, he was seeking treatment for. And he said it was because of his diet that was tampered with. That his wife, knew that as an older man, he needed to be cared for. And she knew what to cook for him, what time he should eat, what meal he should have. But that the cabal locked her out. And that for 1 year, Buhari was not having lunch. And they changed the diet, the special diet she had, cooked up for him. And that led to him being ill. And it is a cliffhanger because based on what she is saying, based on the sneak peek we had of what people were saying about the book, it just might be what had killed him at the end this year, allegedly. So it's a big deal, right?
Big deal. Very big deal. I mean, the Buhari's, government has a lot of stories. I was talking about her comment, even at the heat of this incident. Of course, you recall that the video also surfaced online, a video in the Aso Rock where, how her clothes or her box were being, thrown out, being forced out, and she was actually, I think she was the one filming herself, saying that they want to actually send her packing from the Aso Rock.
And she had serious grass with Daura.
Yes,
Buhari's uncle.
It was a very big deal. And that was actually when she actually made that comment that she actually doesn't recognize her husband again. There's something this cabal has actually done to him. They've changed, they've turned him against his family, and that's exactly where she started talking so many things that Nigerians to actually understand she needs help and all of that. See, again, I also will agree with people who are actually, talking about this in respect to the Buhari's age at the point. When people get older, there's a certain level of, dementia that comes with it. There's certain...
Not in all cases.
Well, yeah,
take a look at our former president.
No,
I want to cite an example. Take a look at our former president, Olusegun Obasanjo. That man is agile. I mean, there was a video of him that popped up months ago of him jogging and all. He's fine.
See.
So it's not a must that you grow old and you suffer dementia.
No, I'm not saying it's a must, but you understand that people's genetic makeup is
Plus, Buhari was not suffering dementia.
No, I'm saying
because dementia is totally different from paranoia.
I know.
Paranoia is when you're fearful of practically everything.
I know, right? But I'm saying that when people get older, the memories also get old. And
I don't believe that.
Recalling things. Recalling things can actually be different.
The way we think about health matters is totally different. Okay. I don't want us to get into that argument. But hey, lots of things surrounding the late PMB's presidency, and it is popping up in the book that was, put together by former Information Minister Lai Mohammed. But what netizens are saying is, why wait till his death for you to come up with these things? How do we know it's true? It's what they are saying. It's just like when IBB came up with his own book and revealed that it was the late Sani Abacha that had, orchestrated the annulment of the June 12 election, which MKO won, hands down. It was said that was the most transparent election in Nigeria. Now, people are saying, so you're saying Abacha did it. He's dead now. How do we know it's the truth and all of that? Yeah, Abacha, by the way, was his chief of staff. But hey, let's not digress. We move on now to the next hashtag, which is hashtag Abdul Samad Dasuki. And if you're wondering, who is he? Well, he is a member of Nigeria's House of Representatives, and he is picking bones with the current tax laws before the House. Now, the House of Representatives had passed, according to him, had passed a totally different document from what is being used or from what is proposed to be used now. So Mr. Barrister F. Young, really a human rights activist and also a very popular lawyer, is the one that put up a post and then he attached a video to it. So let me take you to X now. Lots of them are saying, lots of netizens are saying this is an impeachable offense. So Inibehe Efyong says, the House Rep member, Honorable Abdul Samad Dasuki, PDP Sokoto, today alleges that the gazetted tax reform laws differ from the versions passed by the National Assembly. This is an impeachable offense. Take a listen.
Has been committed, or referring the matter to the Committee of Ethics and Privileges. Still, if the matter is raised in the Committee of the Whole, the chairman shall leave the chair on the order to report progress. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm here today because my privilege has been breached as a member of this all-important House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we passed the tax laws on this floor, and Mr. Speaker, I took my time in the last 3 days to look at the gazetted past copy, the vote and proceedings of the House of Representatives, and also went an extra mile to look at the vote and proceedings of the Senate of what was harmonized. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, what I passed on this floor is not what is gazetted. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I have all the copies, but I'm coming under privilege because I was here, I gave my vote, and it was counted, and I'm seeing something completely different. So on that note, on this privilege, I will call on Mr. Speaker to graciously look at what was harmonized, what is in the gazetted copy, what was passed in the House and the Senate. You will find out what is before Nigerians, which is being sold to Nigerians at the Ministry of Information, which I personally went to buy the gazetted copies, are not what was passed. So there is no motion here, but Mr. Speaker, I'll be pleading that all the documents should be brought before the Committee of the Whole. The whole members should see what is in the gazetted, should see what they passed on the floor, so that we can make the relevant amendments. Mr. Speaker, this is a breach of the Constitution, this is a breach of our laws, and this should not be taken by this honorable House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Wow. For starters, he's a shining star right now online. People are saying he took his time to look at the gazetted copy, vis-a-vis what was passed by the House and the Senate. And he actually went to, he bought a copy for himself, like you just saw, and took time to really digest it. And he stated clearly that this is criminal, that is against the Constitution and all. In other words, it is impeachable.
Absolutely.
Which is the song netizens are an impeachable offense, I beg your pardon, which is the song netizens are singing right now. Let's take a look at what they're saying before Ikechukwu jumps on this. Hashtag Abdul Samad Dasuki. Okay, says this should lead, or this should lead to an impeachment notice. Okay, it's very fresh. This should lead to an impeachment notice, is what OK says. Mr. Gerald says this is crazy. You present one bill that gets passed and then you change everything and sell to the nation. This is a crime. Let's see what happens. The selfless Adeyemi says, what a country. So they passed the fake so the rep members can vote, then went back, I should say, and recreate another one. So it's mind-boggling. Right? If you continue to take a look at it, lots of netizens are saying, impeachment, impeachment, impeachment. What do you say?
Well, first of all, I would definitely want to look at it from two areas. The first is the president is not aware of the change.
It's possible.
Yes, very possible that it's not aware.
Because
someone is trying to actually play a fast one.
The lawmaker particularly called the Ministry of Information on this. But do you do stuff without letting your boss know?
So that's why
the buck always stops at the table of the leader.
Yes, it's also going to take some sticks. It's also going to take some responsibility. But what is going to stop the president from being impeached is that one of his somebody has to actually fall in line. Someone has to go. Either the Speaker of the House of Rep, either the Minister of Information, either his Chief of Staff. Somebody has to actually take the further. I made the switch.
So you are saying there must be a scapegoat?
Yeah, there have to be a scapegoat. This is a very huge allegation. This is a very serious crime. Constitutional fraud. I mean, you don't mess with the constitution of the country. If you commit such a crime, it's impeachable. I mean, by every standard. So this is going to be a litmus test for Nigeria's House of Assembly, National Assembly, to actually deal with. At this point, if they must come out in one voice to actually say, okay, this is the person that's actually responsible for it, and that person has to go. If not, of course, the president is going to be the one that will face the fire because, of course, the boxers are stable. So
because Honorable Dasuki is calling for an investigation.
Yes, that's what it should be.
Do you know that netizens, not for the first time, are saying that the House of Representatives is where real work is done? You know, that they actually take their time to do stuff and all. Are you sharing that sentiment?
Yes, I think recently, because not under the Saraki's government. Anyway.
Really?
Saraki's regime in the Senate seems to be, strong. Yeah, but here, I think they are actually people who seem to be more serious. They are very more focused. I mean, you don't get to see them sing on your mandate. So yes, I think they are more focused on, of course, why they're actually in the House. But the truth is, this is quite sad. This is an embarrassment, a national embarrassment. People want to do business in this part of the foreign investors that you're expecting to do business here now would then maybe sit back and say, oh, it's possible these people can actually push a law and say this is the law. We'll look at the law and say, okay, we can't come do business here because of this. And then they get to switch it and pass another law. It's going to be frightening. So somebody has to go for this, for this to be seen as, okay, yes, I think we've definitely actually made a stretch and hands of, or we want to call it olive branch forgiveness, that yes, it's a mistake, but this is not the case of, taking a slap in the wrist. Someone has to go, and a high profile person at that matter. It could be a minister, it could be even the House of Reps speaker, it could be anybody. One high profile person just has to come in line and say, I made the switch, because this switch didn't just happen.
Especially now that Nigerians are groaning under multiple taxation.
Absolutely.
Right. So this must be looked into.
It's a very serious crime.
Yeah, but I want us to quickly go to the next hashtag, which is hashtag NLC protest. So the NLC, Nigeria Labour Congress, said it was going to protest. I'm choosing my words. They said they were going to protest insecurity and hardship in the country today. I don't know how successful that was, because there are conflicting reports right now that there was a meeting with the federal government over the night and, of course, early hours of this morning, and it ended in a stalemate. But online, like I said, conflicting reports. Another publication had come up to say that the NLC had cancelled the protest and was commending the federal government for their job. Now, that is unverified. So just think twice before you take stories like that. But hey, why this is trending is because Omayele put up a post today regarding this protest. This is what he said, Omayele Shuwore. The Nigeria Police Force was present at the planned NLC protest. It was an opportunity to caution the overzealous among them, and also a moment to greet the officers as I made my way out. And then he put up this video. Take a look.
Behave yourself today, Atine. Atine, behave yourself today. Behave yourself today. Behave yourself today. I don't tell you. Gonna behave yourself today. Yes, sir. Police, you know we go do Christmas. You know we go do Christmas, police. You know ever see police they go do Christmas? You know we go do Christmas, police. Police do Christmas. Now we go do Christmas. Police go do Christmas now. We know we go do Christmas. We are here. Police go do Christmas.
The Christmas with this now.
If we go Christmas, we not go feel waka now.
No be the Christmas with it. And the Christmas, how now? How is everything? Fine. Well done.
So one, we don't see any scene of a protest going on. Two, it seems like Omoyele and the police have become best of friends. They were also calling him their old customer and all. And Shuwore suddenly is looking like Adams Oshomole, with that dress and all of that. Maybe it's a uniform for activists. I don't know. What do you make of what you just saw? Netizens are jumping on this, but before we take a look at their responses.
Yeah, the truth is, I've lost faith, in this Labour Congress under Joe Ajero. So whatever it is they're planning, I don't even take it with. I mean, I would, for one, be expecting them to actually be looking at, this tax, fraud incident. Then if you want to actually protest about it, I think that's going to really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but protesting insecurity is not a big deal.
Well,
hardship is not big
yeah,
deal.
it is. But I mean, how long have we been in this particular, incident? Why are they why stepping down? This is very much, in December. So I don't know. I just see people who are actually just hustling their meal ticket. And trust me, I don't.
But the funny thing is, netizens they're not even talking about the strike. They're talking about Showare's relationship with the police. Varied responses, right? So let me take you back to X so you see how Nigerians are jumping on this hashtag NLC protest. Let's do it. Thank you. Aliyu Issa Mohammed says, Mr. Showare, this is pure hypocrisy. You are vocal on many injustices, yet you've remained completely silent about the arrest of Muslim protesters yesterday in Oshun. Smartech 2050 says, seeing citizens and officers exchange greetings is how trust slowly rebuilds. James Lawal says, the right man for the job. We do not hate the police. We hate their illegal activities. May the Nigeria police succeed. Smartech again says, respectful interaction doesn't weaken protest. It strengthens legitimacy.
True.
True.
Well,
so you agree with netizens?
Yeah, I agree with them on this one. I mean, the police is supposed to be very civil, in their conduct and handling, civilian matters. People have to protest. When you come out, you don't have to come out because you don't have to come out in form of, you going to a war. You have to come out because you actually want to ensure that the protesters are actually safe first before anything else. So seeing them in this, laughing mood says a lot about if perhaps the protest, was to actually really go on. If this is the mood they are coming out, I think it's really going to help. We wouldn't really be having lots of, stories of police brutality during protests and all of that. So,
yeah, but it just looked that the police made a huge effort to come across as friendly. They probably knew this was recorded, knowing that Showare is Showare.
Well, whether they like it or not, Showare will always be Showare. They know that they don't have a choice. The best way to actually handle someone like this, that's why they call him their old customer, because they know.
The thing is, it's surprising that we don't have much footage of the protests gone. But hey, we'll keep our fingers crossed as the events unfold. We'll keep you posted. But let's do a quick breaking news now and also a follow-up to a story we have been talking about. This is hashtag Ahmed Farouk. He is now a former employee of the federal government. He's no longer an employer. He used to be the head of a regulating body of the midstream sector, talking about oil and gas sector in Nigeria. He resigned today, shortly after he visited President Tinubu. Now, he is the one who has been engaged in a tug-of-war with billionaire businessman Dangote, the owner of one of the largest refineries in the world. Dangote came out to say that, look, Ahmed Farouk is living beyond his means and should be investigated by the ICPC. The ICPC confirmed receiving an official complaint from Dangote today, and they said they were going to jump on the investigation. All of a sudden, we heard that Mr. Farouk has resigned. Not just him, a colleague of his as well, who is an engineer. Why don't I take you to X so you take a look at the post now, shall we? Let's do it. Hashtag Ahmed Farouk. So, Nigeria Story says engineers, yeah, they're both engineers. Farouk Ahmed and Benga Komolafe resign. So, credit goes to Platforms Africa now for the meaty reportage you're about to see. Let's do it. The next post. So, Platforms Africa says Farouk Ahmed, the Chief Executive Officer, CEO of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, has resigned following a meeting with President Bola Tinubu. Tinubu on Wednesday summoned Ahmed to the presidential villa in Abuja following allegations of economic sabotage and corruption. The next post. Benga Komolafe, the CEO of the Nigeria Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, also resigned, according to a statement on Wednesday by Bayo Onanuga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy. Tinubu was said to have nominated successors to the Senate for approval. Quote, Tinubu has asked the Senate to approve the nominations of 2 new chief executives for the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. The statement reads, quote, the request followed the resignation of engineer Farouk Ahmed of the NMDPRA and Benga Komolafe of the NUPRC. Both officials were appointed in 2021 by former President Buhari to lead the 2 regulatory agencies created by the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. To fill these positions, President Tinubu has written to the Senate requesting expedited confirmation of Orise. Let me just say Orise. Amanorishewo Eyesan. Gosh, a CEO of NUPRC, and Engineer Saidu Aliu Mohammed, a CEO of NMDPRA. And of course, so in a nutshell, that's the development. This was a speedy move to replace them by the president. Ikechukwu, 30 seconds.
Absolutely. I mean, after, petroleum, agriculture is the very mainstay. So I think this is very important to the president. That our president definitely wants to be the minister of petroleum. So this is a very important portfolio for the president. So that place is not supposed to be vacant. That's exactly why you're seeing this PD. But for these guys who actually resign, I think it's very best thing. You cannot be, in office, because definitely you'll be dragging the office. So you have to actually resign and then face, go clear your name. That's exactly what they're doing.
Netizens are saying resignation should not replace investigation. That there must be an investigation into the matter. But Mr. Lawan, Mr. Farouk, I beg your pardon, on the other hand, is saying his hands are clean. That what is happening is Dangote, who is a very powerful man, fighting against transparency, because he said all he wanted to do was to make his department transparent. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that one. As this unfolds, we'll keep you posted. Under a minute, a couple of minutes, we'll quickly do the last hashtag, which is a follow-up to what we've been doing, hashtag Pella. It will be remiss of us for not to give you what the police is saying about this incident. It was a case of alleged suicide. Pella, the very popular TikTok influencer, because his girlfriend left him. So the FRSC said they were going to probe the matter. The police has arrested him. Pulse has that, and then we have a statement from the police. Let's quickly take a look at it. Hashtag Pella. Let's do it quickly. Thank you. Pulse Nigeria says Lagos Police Command arrests and detains TikTok creator Pella for attempted suicide. Let's take a look at the post now the police put up. So Lagos State Police Command says the Lagos State Police Command has arrested and detained for further investigation Habib Hamzat, aka Pella, subsequent to the viral video that surfaced online on Sunday 14th December 2025, in which he was seen driving recklessly, leading to a dangerous road crash and serious motor accident while the incident was being live-streamed, thereby endangering his life and that of other road users. His action constitutes a deliberate attempt to commit suicide and endanger the life of other innocent people. The concluding part of it, let's quickly take a look at it. 2, the case is currently being investigated by the State Criminal Investigation Department. The outcome of the investigation will be made public, and the suspect will be charged to the court of competent jurisdiction in accordance with the law. 3, the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, CP Jimoh, strongly warns social media influencers, content creators, and general members of the public to desist from using social media platforms to engage in or promote reckless, dangerous, or unlawful and criminal acts. Such lawlessness will not be tolerated, and the full weight of the law will be applied on any offender. The command further urges all road users to comply strictly with traffic regulations and remains committed to ensuring public peace and safety at all times. Signed by SP at DBC, Police Public Relations Officer for the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Command. Ikechukwu, few seconds as we wrap this up.
It's a very good one. I mean, these people who are influencers are people who can actually, cause some sort of social engineering that would, let a lot of persons who are facing depression to go commit suicide. So I think it's a very right step in the right direction for him to be arrested and then prosecuted.
I do hope that at the end of it all, Pella will be given the medical or the treatment he needs, because some people are saying this is also a mental issue, talking about mental health and all of that. And peer pressure, I do hope that this thing is resolved amicably and that his family should intervene too. On that note, I need to say thanks to everyone who contributed to making the show a success. But the bigger thanks goes to you guys for watching. If you liked it, keep a date with Ikechukwu and I for another edition of Hashtags right here. Same time, same station. Until then, I am Vivian Oguche, and bye for now.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV.